I just want to start off the podcast by you introducing yourself and your role and how long you've been coaching at Daemen.
Mike MacDonald. I've been the basketball coach at Daemen University. This is my 12th season. Um, I've been in Buffalo for a long time coaching. I was the head coach at Canisius College for 9 years. I was the head coach at Medaille College for 8 years. So I spent actually 18 years total at Canisius College, 9 as assistant, 9 as a head coach. I went to Medaille for 8 years and been lucky enough to be at Daemen for these last 12 years.
Yes. So you talk about you have a lot of experience coaching. What do you think is so special about this year's Daemen team, this specific Daemen squad that you have?
Well, we're still finding out about this year's team and what makes them special. I think what we're looking at is how we develop. It's only early November. So for us, hopefully our better days are ahead of us. But I think we have a team that is very committed to winning, which is one of the big things right off the bat. They're very connected with each other, and which helps you become a good team. We're going to see how we handle adversity. We have a very difficult schedule, and if we can handle the adversity, that'll make us stronger at the end, which is what you want to be. You want to be playing your best basketball when you get to the end of the season in March.
Yeah. So you talk about having a well-balanced team, and that brings me to two things. The first thing I want to talk about is the fact that Daemen is one of the most successful teams in Western New York right now, and you look at the players on the roster, they come from St. Joe's, Daemen, Cardinal O'Hara, Hamburg. What does it mean to have just a roster of a bunch of local guys that was able to kind of become a powerhouse at the D2 level and be one of the best teams in the country?
It's a good question. I think it's, I think I've thought for years that Buffalo basketball is kind of overlooked. And I think that we can offer a very healthy alternative and a very exciting alternative for kids to go to. Maybe we're not at the Division I level, but they can play at a very high level of basketball and have a chance to compete for championships at a place, an excellent institution where they're going to get a great degree and have a chance to play high level basketball. I mean, it's everything you would want. Listen, there are kids from this area who say, well, I got to get out of town. I got to go away. I want to chase the Division I dream. Totally understand it. And you wish them well. But in the end, I think we can be an alternative for kids who can stay close to home. They can play a high level. They can get a great degree. Plus, and I say this as a parent, that their parents can go watch them play and be close enough that they can see a lot of the games. And I think that's a great alternative for people, a great option for people when they're graduating from high school.
Going back to the thing of the well-balanced team, one thing that stands out about Daemen is that everyone kind of has a role. Like there are multiple players who are double digit in scoring. They have like a well-balanced lineup, a well-balanced attack. What does it mean to you to create a culture where you kind of play that level of team basketball?
It's it's difficult in today's day and age because everybody wants to score, everyone wants to be the star. We had a situation last year where 2 of our top 3 scorers came off the bench.
Yeah,
very unusual. We're in a situation this year where our 4 top returning scorers from this past year have returned and are back here. In today's day and age of college basketball, very unusual. But we talked about as a team after the season last year, like. I just told them, like, I get the modern culture of college basketball is have a good year, move, get out, go somewhere else. We talked about, I grew up the way I grew up, and I'm a lot older than everybody else. I said, when I grew up in this profession, there was a progression that you went from being, I went from being a graduate assistant at Canisius to an assistant to the top assistant to the head coach. And there's progressive steps that you have to take.
Yeah.
And you didn't really skip steps. Nowadays, everybody wants to skip steps, right? Have one good year, have one good game, boom, I'm going to hit the transfer portal. I'm going to go out. And we just talked about, hey, we have a really good thing here. We have a really good group of guys at a great school that are having fun together. If you want to go, I'll help you leave. But if you want to stay, we could stay together and you can continue on that progression where maybe guys who didn't start last year are going to start. Maybe guys who weren't the main guys get to kind of be that main guys and grow into the role. I think college basketball to me has always been a progression sport, meaning you play a little bit as a freshman,
Mhm.
you're playing more as a sophomore, as a junior, you're a starter. Maybe you're one of the leading scorers as a senior. Maybe you're an all conference guy. So there's a progression there, and you get better. And you look at a lot of college basketball players have gone through that. Obviously, there's the ones who are tops in the country
Yeah,
who are just one and done, and they're going to leave. But that's a small percentage.
yeah.
The majority of guys go through the progressive steps, and I think it's great to watch our guys go through different roles and change, have their roles expand, and learn how their different roles, how they have to be effective in their different roles.
So you speak about player progression, and could you just give me an example of some players that you've kind of seen made that leap from last year to the start of this year? Obviously, there's only been 2 games, but
Yeah, yeah. I
like
think
maybe some
this year
underclassmen that.
we're going to wait and see. But I think well, like for example, Ben Bill was our leading scorer last year. He was an All
Yes.
American, came off the bench, but I think he averaged about 22 minutes a game. Well, this year in 2 games, he's averaging 30 minutes a game. All of a sudden, he's starting. There's a lot more eyes on him, so it's a different role for him. Zach Filipkowski came off the bench last year for us too. I think was our third leading scorer. Zach was, you know, was a very important part of our team. Now he's one of these guys who can play multiple positions, is is counted on to be effective every night. It's a different role, but I think that's the beauty of college basketball. I think that's the beauty of watching a team come together and watch kids grow and their roles expand as the years go on.
So obviously, this strategy has been very successful. Last year, Daemen averaged over 80 points a game as a team and had, I believe, a 21-point differential. So how do you speak on kind of building? I feel like they have a very high-paced offense while at the same time being aggressive on defense. So how would you describe your play style
You're
as a
pretty
team?
good, Richard. You have no notes. I don't even know what we
Yeah.
averaged last year. That's all right. I think our play style is we can play multiple different ways. If a team wants to slow it down and play slow, we can do that and be effective in a half court. If somebody wants to run, we can run. We feel comfortable running. And I think you have to be prepared for anything in today's day. Our first game against Lenore Rhine last weekend, Lenore Ryan came out pressing. They hadn't
Yeah.
done that a lot in the past, but we were ready for it. We handled the ball pressure. We were able to score some baskets off it and got us up and down until they pulled the press off. So I think you have to be able to play different ways nowadays to
Mhm.
be effective, and I think this year's team can do that.
So you speak on the Lenore Rhine game, and this is something I believe I might have to check my notes for this, but I believe it was like 13 or 14 lead changes in that game.
It was very close. I think it was 14. You're right.
Yes. So how would you describe the atmosphere of that game, and how were you able to eventually pull out the
Uh,
W?
Well, I thought our guys showed some great toughness, some great togetherness during that game. I mean, we got off to an early lead. Then we had a little bit of a dry spell offensively, and they took the lead back. And Lenore Ryan was in the Elite Eight last year. They have two players back who could either one could be an All American, or both could be All Americans. And so we knew we'd have our hands full. We got into the second half, went into the second half down one, and we came out right away. And I thought our defense really improved. I think we did a great job of guarding the basketball. We had a number of players step up. We had three of our starters had 4 fouls with about 9 minutes to go in the game, so we were in some major foul trouble, which tested our depth. One of our questions going into this year is how is our depth going to play out? Last year we were a pretty deep team, and I thought that was a great way to start the season for us to be able to hold down the fort while we're in foul trouble and take a lead. I think we got the lead up to 7 or 9 points, and we were just on the edge of blowing it open. We couldn't make any 3-point shots. Didn't shoot very well, and then um, Justin Glover hit one in front of our bench and kind of opened it up a little bit more. And Lenore Ryan had cut the lead. We expanded back up, and then we made plays down the stretch to keep them at arm's length.
So that's interesting that you mentioned Justin Glover. Justin Glover obviously isn't the biggest guy out there.
No, he
How
isn't.
what do you think it is about his work ethic and his play style that allows him to be play at such a high level despite kind of being under undersized. I don't know the correct
Yeah,
word how to
undersized
describe
would
it.
probably be the right word. Yeah, being shorter than others,
Yeah,
he has
yeah.
tremendous heart, and is incredibly competitive. Um, Wants to win, wants to do whatever it takes to win. It's an example of a guy who's grown. You know, when Justin came here as a freshman at Joe's, we had some injuries. He started his first probably 6 games of his career as a freshman. We were struggling. We made a move. We brought him off the bench. He didn't pout. He didn't complain. He excelled in the role coming off the bench and got better. The next year, he ended up starting every game and was just an important part of our team. So he's gone. He's gone through some different role changes, and he's been able to excel in all of them and have that progression that we talked about earlier.
Another player I want to talk about is Justin Hemphill.
Yep.
He is obviously a star forward for the team, but he has a very versatile game. How would you describe like his play style?
Um, he's very versatile is a good word to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Very good way to put it. Justin can play anywhere from center to a point guard, and I think he'd prefer to play point guard. But
Yeah,
he's a point forward, a guy who can really handle the ball. He led our team, even though he started at center. He led our team in assists last year, which not many people do, right? Not many centers
yeah.
do. He has a tremendous feel for the game. Sometimes tries to do too much or tries to be too special. I always compare it to don't be young Josh Allen, be older
Yeah,
Josh Allen, right? You don't
that
have
is
to
a good
be
comparison.
spectacular. You just have to keep the game simple. And he, uh, his game has improved each year. He went from a guy who was coming off the bench to a starter, to a main starter, to an all-conference player, to now I think he should is very comfortable in his skin and very comfortable in his role of being one of the best players in the conference.
And then another player I would like to talk about. You talked about how he came off the bench last year and was the leading scorer. Benjamin Bill. How would you describe the way he's playing? He's off to a great start in his first 2 games.
He is off to a great start. Ben has again. Ben, you talk about a guy who, as a freshman out of Hamburg High School, came here, did not have a illustrious high school career by any stretch of the imagination. Had been out of shape, got himself into shape. He, as a freshman, he was kind of our third string center. Played some. I think he played about 100 minutes total
Mm-hmm.
his freshman year. The next year, he came to me and said, "Hey, would it be okay if I redshirted?" Because he felt he could use the year to develop. And he redshirting. He practiced with us. He worked out with the coaches. He got better. Worked in the weight room. Changed his body even more. And last year, as a sophomore basketball wise, junior academically, he kind of exploded on the scene and just really um, has taken those steps to improve. Really has worked hard. His work ethic is off the charts. It's been great to see him rewarded for all the hard work that he's put in. And I think this year is the next step in Ben Bill's progression. We've used
So
those words a lot, huh?
yeah,
Steps and progression.
have some progression. So with the way Daemen has progressed as a team, last year they obviously were undefeated, had a loss in the postseason, but they have a
Thanks for bringing that
huge
up.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
They have a huge target on their back to the point where everyone wants to play at their highest level against Daemen. Everyone's trying to beat Daemen. How do you manage that, and how do you view it as like a every game battle?
Well, look, we're in a competitive environment, right?
Yes.
And every game you go into, you would think everybody would want to play their best and play against you. And if that sharpens us and makes us think like, hey, we got to bring it every night, so much the better. We just played 2 teams. Lenore Ryan, we were ranked fourth in the country. They're ranked 19th. You don't think they wanted to bring their best to beat us,
Yeah.
right? Then we played Alaska Anchorage. You knew that they had a chance to upset us, and it would be a big win. So for us, I look at it like there is going to be a bullseye on our back. Fine, we've had that since pretty much and middle of December last year. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right, let's bring it. And you know what? If somebody plays really well and they beat us, we tip our hat and we move to the next
Mm-hmm.
game.
This is a more generalized question. What would you say are your long term goals for the Daemen program?
Well, I
with
think
what you're trying to build.
what we're trying to build. We've built. We never want to stop building, and we
Mm,
want to get to the point where we are on a national level recognized as a program that's going to have real good quality basketball, real good quality basketball players, and an institution where they're going to get a great degree that's very challenging. That they're going to when student athletes graduate from here, they know they've become a better player, a better student, and a better person. But I think our goals are let's keep improving. Let's get to that point where we are recognized. Let's get to the point where everybody can pronounce Daemen and they
yeah.
know who we are. And I think when we get to that point, that will be a really good thing.
And talking about being recognized on like uh, a nationwide level, you've had some teams that have made the jump from D2 to D1 in recent years, like Stonehill and New Haven. Is there any possibility that Damon might make that jump in
That's above.
the
That's a
next?
question that's
Yeah,
above me. Right? I just worry
that's for
about trying to
the
win the next game. So that's for the administration if they want to, whatever they want to do. I have total trust in Dr. Olson, our president, Tracy
yes,
Murphy, our vice president of athletics. Whoever wants to, whatever they want to do, I will follow along because they know what's going on. They know the landscape of the NCAA right now, which is kind of crazy, right?
yes, very much so. So last year, Damon shot 39% as a team from three, which is very good. How would you, because you talk about the modern era and how the game has adjusted, how would you say your offensive approach has adjusted to kind of the 3 point era and like the modern fast paced era of basketball?
Well, I think it's funny if you watch games, go
Mm-hmm.
back and watch games from 20 years ago. You see very little ball screens, very little
Mm-hmm.
screen and roll, a lot more passing, cutting, that type of thing. You don't see nearly as many 3-point shots. I was over the summer was watching the NBA playoffs from like 1981 were on NBA TV, and I think at one point it was Game 7, and I think Larry Bird for the Celtics made a 3-pointer. It was the first 3-pointer the team had made all series. Think about that,
Yeah.
right? Now you're seeing 3-pointers right after the jump ball, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so the game has evolved, and the game continues to evolve, and it will. In the end, no matter how much it's evolved, there are things that are common tenets that every good team is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Every good team is going to defend. Every good team is going to rebound. Every good team is going to take care of the ball. You might have a different team, and we've had different teams at
Mm-hmm.
Daemen where we've scored more in the paint than we've scored from the perimeter, or we've made threes, more so than we've made twos. In the end, you still have to be able to defend. You have to be able to rebound, and you have to take care of the ball. If you do those things, you're going to give yourself a chance to win.
And then I do want to talk about the defensive approach. What is kind of the style you seek to play with defensively? Is it more of a man zone? And how do you adjust based on your opponents? And how do you work to build a chemistry on defense?
I think you practice it every day. I think that's a
Yeah,
very big thing. Number one. Number two, I think what we've been able to do is be able to play defense different ways. Some games you might have to
yeah,
play more zone. Some games you have to be able to play more man. It depends going into the game, and we've been able to adjust. I think those are our best teams that can play multiple defenses.
yes. And when you talk about the change in pace depending on opponents, how would you say your overall your ideal pace that you would like to play, or do you think it's really just a game dependent thing?
I think it's game dependent. I mean, we try and play fast.
Yeah.
We play to our strengths. I think any good team plays to its strengths. If you have a strong inside game, you're not going to just fire 3-pointers. If you have a great perimeter game, you're not just going to pound the ball inside if you're not as strong inside. So I think you have to figure out where your strengths are and be able to play to your strengths offensively and defensively.
Yes. And then you talk about how Hemphill has kind of been a point forward for your team. How do you establish like the my best way to describe it would be like like a 2014 Spurs type offense where everyone's just working within the system, passing to find the best shot, or do you
Yeah.
like to play isolation ball, or is it a mixture of
No, we've
both?
been very much. One thing we've talked about is that passing is our superpower, and
Yes.
if we can really move the ball, thing we like to say is the ball moves, the scoreboard moves. And if
Yes,
we can keep
that's
the
a
ball
great quote.
moving, that's when we try and keep it going. So that's one of our big things is ball movement and body movement to make us tougher to guard.
And my last question is, if anyone wants to watch a Daemen game, where and what games do you think will be important? And well, every game is important,
Every game is important. You got
but
to remember where you are, Joseph. Come on.
where would people go if they wanted to watch a Daemen game?
Well, they could come right here to our campus, Lumsden Gymnasium. We open up the home portion of our schedule next Friday, Saturday, November 14th and 15th. We play right after that, November 18th against Fairmont State, who's ranked number 5 in the country. And we're home. We're home this Saturday after Thanksgiving. So our schedule is online at DaemenWildcats.com. I will warn people. Last year we had a history from pretty much January on of selling the place out. So it's a great environment.
Yes.
People get very excited to be here. We have great crowds, and so I would encourage uh, come on out. Very family friendly environment too. Great for kids. Kids have a great time at the game, and we try and um, keep it fun and entertaining for our fans.
Well, thank you so much. This has been a great interview.
Thank you very much, Joseph. Thanks for coming by.
You're welcome. It'll be on YouTube, and I'm trying to upload to Spotify. I'm having some issues,
All
but
right.